those of you who do want to refer back to this. All right, we are recording, so let's get started, everybody. You have the Chrome browser. You can install things like Chrome extensions, which can add functionality and save time. And there are also things called Google Docs add-ons. So for things like Docs, Slides, Forms, Google Sheets, there are these little programs called add-ons, which are like little programs that add functionality just to that program. So we're going to share a couple of those. At the end, I'll also share a couple of great sites for some templates. But our buckets are going to be wonderfully full with these Chrome extensions and Google add-ons. Okay, so let's get started. Now, honestly, it's going to be a little bit like drinking from a fire hose for the next 40 minutes. Thank you for those putting in the group chat a little more about that particular documentary as well as other things. You're welcome to share your own great Chrome extensions. So we're going to look at some extensions here. Now, if you can, there is a place called the Chrome Web Store, and you can install Chrome extensions from the Chrome Web Store. And so if you haven't done this before, I will give you the direct links in my slides to these, but essentially how it works is you visit the Chrome Web Store. If you find something that you want to install, you click on it, and then you just choose the Add to Chrome. Okay, it's that simple. It will show up in the upper right-hand corner of your Chrome browser, and if at any point in time you want to remove any, you can just right-click on them and remove them. Some of them do require permissions, because some of them will involve saving things to your Google Drive, for example, or having additional functionality elsewhere. So let's get started. For those of you who are not using, and by the way, let me just give that bit.ly again for those of you who want to follow along with the slides at home. You can jump on in here. We only have about half of you, not even half of you in here, so I invite you to come on in. You can find the links right in here. The first one is Share to Classroom, and now this is a common one that a lot of IT departments push out, and I don't know if any of you, if you haven't heard of Google's Classroom's Share to Classroom extension, drop me a quick note, just mention it, say I haven't heard of it or something like that in the group chat, but most people have, but I mention it just because if you haven't, this could be a real game changer for you. How it works is anytime you are on anything, any website you want, you click this Share to Classroom extension, pick the Google Classroom you want, and then either push that website live to students, and this works even when they're at home. If they're signed into their Chrome browser and are on the computer at that time, so it works great for live instruction. You hit push to students, and boom, everybody who's enrolled in your Google Classroom and signed into the Chrome browser at that particular time, boom, a new tab is going to pop up in their Chrome browser, and it's going to push that particular website. They have to have the extension too, and this is why a lot of IT departments will push this out to the whole division. But what you can do, I'm going to click on the link here. So what you can do when you have a Chrome Web Store, an extension link that you'd like to share with students, just go to the web store, copy this, and just paste it, just send it to students in the Google Classroom. Or if you're in Google Meet, for example, paste it in the chat there. And just, I find very effective for teachers just to put in the Google Classroom, hey, for this class, let's everybody install this. Just click on this and install it. So teachers can't, unfortunately, push out extensions to students, but your IT department can. And so one way or another, you can get students installing many of these extensions. Sometimes IT departments will, they will block certain extensions that they feel are inappropriate or malicious, or they just don't want them, but most of them you should be able to install. Now, another cool feature of this Share to Classroom, let's say you find this great video or a great article or anything that you'd like to post to your Google Classroom. Instead of sharing live, instead of doing the push to students, you have lots of other options. Right from this extension, you can create an assignment, ask a question, or make an announcement about it. So it's really, really easy. Now, students can share things back to the teacher using the same tool. However, that could go horribly wrong, couldn't it? However, when a student tries to push something to the teacher, it won't overtake the browser like a teacher's does to students. It simply will show up as a little notification. So-and-so has sent you this link, click to open it. So you can choose, or it'll just kind of sit down in this little tray temporarily. I don't know the exact time limit that it stays, but this is where it stays. And you can also find recently pushed things, websites, web pages to your students down in here as well. So the two main pieces of functionality, again, are pushing live websites to students. Works great on this remote learning environment, provided they have a Chrome browser. Does not work on mobile devices. Okay. Or just for your own time saving, you know, I want to turn this particular video, I want to turn this particular news article into an assignment. So you could, or just post a link to my Google Classroom for students to read. So works, instead of having to visit your Google Classroom, just use the Share to Classroom extension. All right, moving on. A lot of people are using FlipGrid, and what you'll notice is when you're using FlipGrid, they often give you an associated flip code that's several characters long that students can type in or click on a link that goes to it. What the FlipGrid Classroom extension does, it's a new extension from FlipGrid, and what it does is it basically puts it a little bit closer to your fingertips. Just allows you to just type in that, whatever that flip code is. So if you have a flip code for your whole FlipGrid grid for your whole classroom, which may contain numerous topics, you can just put that, they can just type that right in there. You can type it right in there to get there quickly. Or if it's for a particular topic, you also get a flip code. And so basically the long story short is with FlipGrid extension here, it just gives you a quick little place to type in that code and it'll just jump you straight to that particular topic or grid. All right, moving on. How do you get these extensions? All right, well, how do you get these extensions? You can hop into this particular slide deck with my bit.ly/ATA Time Wizard. And I have on every particular slide, I have the link down in the notes. I also have, if you click on the image, I've done a screen cap from the, it's also hyperlinked, okay? So you can just click it there and it will basically go to the associated Chrome Web Store and it'll give you a little button here to add to Chrome. Boom. Good. The alternative is you can just do a Google search for Chrome Web Store, okay? And then just search for the name of it that I've just mentioned and it'll just come up the same way. All right, let's give her. There's more. Draftback, super fun. Now, what Draftback allows you to do, I'm going to open up a Google Doc that a student of mine created. And what Draftback does is it basically creates almost like a video recording showing back in sped up time, you can slow it down if you want, how that document was created. Let me just show you. All right, so when I open up a particular Google Doc, actually I could have just done it right on my own Google Doc here. As soon as I have it installed, it shows up here as Draftback. In your Google Doc, it'll show up as Draftback. So when I click it, it'll just process some changes. It'll just chug along here for a moment. And then once it's ready, we click View and it'll show you in real time, kind of not real time, sped up time, and I can speed up or slow down time, right? There's a play pause. It'll show you how that particular document was created. Now, in addition to that, it also gives you some statistics that will show you over time, whether there were long blocks of time. Oh, here's 166 revisions were made from this time to this time, a 4-minute block. You can just kind of see inside the mind of your student. What it'll also let you do basically is it will basically show you if all of a sudden, boom, you think, yeah, that doesn't look like they're writing. You know, maybe all of a sudden you're watching this creation come back, and all of a sudden, boom, 3 paragraphs get plopped right in that you think, okay, they must have copied it and pasted it from somewhere. So it's not, I guess you could consider it a deterrent. I don't really like playing the role of, you know, I'm against you, the teacher's against the student, you know, I'm going to catch you cheaters. But what it does do is certainly does provide a bit of a deterrent, but it also, more importantly, will just show you inside the minds of your students as they were creating their documents. So that is draft back. Okay. Now, because it only works in Google Docs, you would think it would be a Google Docs add-on, right? Because it just works for that. But for whatever reason, it is called an extension, and it is on the Chrome Web Store. You can just click on the link on slide 6. Good. All right. This is fun, everybody. Okay. I should have kept, by the way, if you close some tabs that you really wish you hadn't closed, Control-Shift-T. It will undo the most recently closed tab. Really good for students as well in class with Chromebooks that they've got a Chromebook, you're approaching their desk and they're like madly closing tabs. You could just go, aha, let's see what you were looking at, Control-Shift-T. And you can just go Control-Shift-T, T, 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 T. You can open up the last 5 tabs. And if they close the whole browser and you reopen it, you can hit Control-Shift-T and it'll just open up all of what was there. Anyhow, I digress. So you have seen in Google Classroom, you've got titles for all of your different particular headings. You may be typing stuff in a Google Doc where you might want some emojis. The emoji keyboard, Emojis for Chrome, serves a couple of wonderful, wonderful purposes, okay? I'm on slide 7 now, so I'll just give you a little demo here. It looks like a little heart, multicolored heart. So as soon as I click in there, here are all of my emojis. I can select any ones I want and then hit copy. And then I can just go into wherever I am and paste, and there are those emojis. So it's really super handy. Now, this thing does some other cool things as well. This one does, look at this, change cursors. I haven't used any of these other ones, but the fancy text, it's super cool. Check this out. I saw this demonstrated in my wife's school. One of her teachers did this. So coolfont.org, so I can say mathematics. So here is a whole bunch of cool text version of that. Oh, look at that, emoji style. I'll copy this one. I've copied it. Watch this. I'm going to go into my Google Classroom. Let's pick a different Google Classroom. And I'm going to go into one of these particular topics, and I'm going to rename it and paste. Not bad, hey? So using this cool fonts, so aside from the emojis, which can be super helpful and it can add a little visual, maybe a little visual cue in some of your instructions or materials, or just draw attention in some way, they've also got, as part of this particular tool, this fancy text at Cool Font. It redirects you to coolfont.org, where you can just do that font generator, copy it, and a little kind of a, not really a time saver, but kind of a fun thing. You can change some of the headings and things like that in your Google Classroom stuff. So you can use it elsewhere as well. You can use it in anywhere you have text, basically. You can use that particular. So there are several different emoji keyboard extensions. This one is called Emoji Keyboard Emojis for Chrome. Okay, and I've given you the link directly to the Chrome Web Store. How we doing for time? Not too bad. Custom cursor, you may have noticed that I have a cursor that looks like this. It's a little bit larger and this. And so when you have custom cursor, basically what it lets you do is change your cursor into something different. There are all sorts of different collections. So if I want to change my cursor into Captain Jack Sparrow, I can basically do that. It turns into a sword, and when I click on stuff, it turns into Captain Jack Sparrow. Okay, so a little bit distracting, probably. Fun, definitely. Let me do this particular one. It doesn't seem to work super well in all of in Google Slides, but it does work on the main body of things like Google Docs. So if you want something larger or just memorable for your students to see when you're doing some live instruction, this one falls under the category of just kind of fun. But it can also help point people's attention to certain things. So that one, again, is called Custom Cursor. And it'll show up like a little arrow, custom cursor right in your Chrome extensions there. Make sense? Distracting, yes, absolutely. So depending on your students, this may or may not be for you. Dark Reader, you're all spending lots of hours looking at screens, and can result in some eye strain, can result, if you're environmentally conscious, can involve extra power as well. With some of those brighter colors, believe it or not. So what Dark Reader does, if I turn Dark Reader on, it basically will go to sort of dark versions of websites that I have. Let's try this one again. Come on. Got a live group here. So here's Google Classroom. I've turned on Dark Reader. This is what it looks like. And so what you can do is you can use this particular Dark Reader tool. You can turn it on and off for everything, or you can even say only use it for whatever particular site that you're on at that time. There are some other things like brightness, contrast, sepia, grayscale, different things you can do. I'm going to turn it off and reload this. But that is Dark Reader, so that might result in a little bit less eye strain for you. And I don't know what I have done to my browser, but it hates me. There we go, back to normal. So that is Dark Reader. I'm going to skip Google Input Tools just out of time. It takes a long time, but if you are a second language...
You've got to stop them. They've got the wrong man.
It's true, sir. Sirius is innocent.
It's scabbers who...
Sirius is innocent. It's true. Sorry, did you guys hear that? Okay. Anyways, I had the whole time turner scene from Harry Potter, you know, because we're saving time like a wizard. Okay, terrible joke. Dad humor. So what the Google Input Tools do, I won't demonstrate it, but essentially, right as a Chrome extension, anywhere you can add text, you can switch keyboards, various input tools for different languages. Virtual keyboard right on your screen. There's even a transliteration thing. So if you speak a Slavic language, for example, and you know how it sounds kind of in English letters, you could type it, it turns it into the Slavic language. You can copy it, paste it. So Google Input Tools is a wonderful tool for language teachers who teach a different language. And so there is a link there to the Chrome Web Store, which will tell you more about it. You're looking at a lot of screens. Okay, and what this particular extension does, Earth View from Google Earth, every time you open a new tab, it'll give you a lovely image from somewhere in Google Earth. Over 1,000 images. Okay, every time I open up a new tab, isn't that nice? So again, not really, doesn't save you any time, but it might just give you something nice to look at, might make you feel relaxed or peaceful. And it's just kind of cool. Now, is anybody here using any of the Microsoft tools? And if you have you heard of the Immersive Reader? They build it into all of their tools. It has a lot of similar functionality to tools like the Read and Write toolbar. But it is primarily just built right into the Microsoft web-based tools and all of them that they own. So even things like FlipGrid, if you have a text description, it will light up the text and give you some of that text to speech. It will highlight different colors for different parts of speech. It'll do all sorts of things. What this particular extension does, called Use Immersive Reader on Websites, it's an unofficial Microsoft tool. A developer from Microsoft created it, but Microsoft didn't officially want Google to have it, so they haven't officially released it as Microsoft. Does that make sense? But it is safe, as far as I know. So when you install it, what you do is you go to a particular page. If you highlight some text that you would like help reading, you just right-click and choose Help Me Read This, and it will open up Microsoft's Immersive Reader. which looks like this. And so it'll let you do the
This should give confidence to Premier Jason Kenney and Chief Medical Officer of Health.
So text to speech, you can change the speed settings, okay, the voice from female to male. You can do things like highlighting different parts of speech in different colors. You can put syllables between words, which I'm not a reading expert. I'm a language arts minor, but I have read in places, and please correct me if you need to, or know that what I'm about to say is false, but I've been told, at least by the Microsoft people who demonstrated this once for me, said that for students with dyslexia, having these kind of dots between the syllables can be very useful in terms of breaking down those large words. And it's good for every reader, actually. So there we are. Does it work in French? Yes, it does. And it also will do things like translate into different languages by word or the whole document. It'll translate into a different language. There's even a picture dictionary. So for example, if I click on medical, come on, it'll load up some symbols, picture dictionary. So different text sizes, there's different contrast options for backgrounds, spacing between words, how many lines do I want to show at once? Where is the line spacing one? Line focus, yeah, check that out. 1-line focus, 3-line focus, right? So lots of cool features to support students who would benefit from having that assistive technology right here. So once again, once you install it, highlight the text you want, right-click and choose Help Me Read This, and it will just launch it in a new tab and open up that Immersive Reader feature. And that is the Use Immersive Reader on Websites extension. Yeah, and if you do have Office 365 in your school division, look more into that Immersive Reader. They build it into all their tools, especially when you're viewing them through the web, but they're building in the Immersive Reader even on their desktop applications now. Word, PowerPoint, etc. OneNote, for example, I think it started in OneNote. Yeah, so it's great. All right, DF YouTube. This one won't help you too much right now unless maybe you're showing YouTube videos as a screen share during your live instruction, but this one might help you when you get back to school. Let's consider this particular YouTube video. We've got our up next, we've got comments, once in a while you'll have a playlist here, you've got advertisements, and it's like it might just be a little bit too much. So what DF YouTube stands for, distraction-free YouTube. Check it out. So I'm going to just instantly, all of the distractions went away. Look what I can hide. I can hide the feed, the subscription, I can hide the comments, the playlist, the up next, all of that. If it's a live stream, I can hide the live chat. And you can select or deselect any of these things. There are several of these tools out there to, it'll block the side ad on the YouTube video. It won't stop the commercial at the beginning. However, the next extension I show you will stop the commercials at the beginning of your YouTube video. I have a love-hate relationship with ad block. Okay, it's called ad block, best ad blocker. There are several of these ad blocker tools out there, and this is the one with the red hand. The reason I hate this is because when you install it, it will pop open a new tab and it'll show a little installation bar, which is complete garbage. It's already installed, okay? And then it'll lead you to a donation page, which says, hey, please, if you like this, please donate to us. I find it annoying. I get it. They made it. They deserve to make some money off it. And if they do it in the form of donations versus forcing you to pay for it, that's a good thing. But just the whole piece where it's installing, it looks like it's installing is misleading. That's why I don't like it. Why I do like it is that now that ad block is installed, gone are the commercials from your YouTube videos before they start. So that could be just keep the flow of your lessons going and be much less of a pain when you're showing YouTube videos. It also works on other websites for different ads. And once in a while, you'll see if you go to a particular website, a blog, for example, that kind of has ads on our news site, they'll say, hey, we noticed you have an ad blocker. Would you consider please letting the ads run on this site? This is how we allow you to have this content for free. So you can, when you're on a particular site, you can pause it or don't even run it on this particular page or site. So you have granular control on where your ads are showing or not. By default, all ads are blocked, but you can unblock them as you choose on particular sites. And that is AdBlock. Yeah, AdBlock Plus, another one. I've never used it. This is the only one I've used, and it seems to work well. So I just wanted to speak to that. But thank you, Genevieve, for mentioning that AdBlock Plus also works well, and as may several others. All right, I like to give credit to people when I learn about new extensions and things from them. So this is a guy named Sam Carey, and his YouTube channel is the New EdTech Classroom, I think. Yeah, New EdTech Classroom. And so I learned,
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Sam. So I found out the following extensions I learned about from Sam. So I just thought I would mention them to you. One is called one-click full-page screenshot. And so what's cool about this are two things. And I will just demonstrate. Once it's installed, like if I did a screenshot right now, it would just be this part of the article, right? I would miss down here, and maybe I wanted to do a screenshot of the whole page. So that's what this thing does. I click on it and watch it. See the little runner going? Screenshot, screenshot, screenshot. It's a pretty long article, but if it were much shorter, it would be even shorter screenshot. It'll then open up in its new tab, and then here it is. I can zoom out if I want to, but basically here's the whole article. Now I can crop certain parts of it out and just get certain parts of that screenshot if I want, but I can also add things like arrows. I can add text. I can add other shapes. I can add digital ink, and then I can download it. Okay, so it's a wonderful tool that can allow you to take and annotate screenshots. It can also let you do that for a whole screen in case you find that just one particular portion of the screen isn't good enough. So it'll just save it as a PNG in your downloads folder. Good. So yeah, that one might work for you. Maybe you're like, you know what? I never actually need a full page screenshot, so no thanks. That is totally up to you. But OneTab, I really like OneTab for a couple of reasons. Basically, here's how OneTab works. If I have a whole bunch of tabs open and let's say I'm planning something, my lessons for next week, and I've got a whole bunch of tabs open. I'm not quite done, but I don't want to lose all the tabs. You know, I could bookmark each one and then come back to them. But what I can do is I can just hit the OneTab button and watch what happens. Ooh, it'll just slurp them all up. Here are 5 tabs right here. You can see I've done this before. And then the next time I open up Chrome, I'm just going to close Chrome, open it again. And what it will usually do, I probably didn't give it enough time, but I'll just hit that OneTab again. I can now restore all or individual ones, or I can even close certain ones if I didn't want, but I'm just going to go restore all. And then it'll basically bring all of those tabs back. It also gives you an option to share that whole set of tabs as a web page. And so if I do that, it goes to onetab.com, and here's the URL. So if you have a whole collection of sites you want to share with students, you can just share it as a single link, and it'll just give them all, if that makes sense. But I don't really use it for that. I just use it for if I'm partway through my work and I need to, like, I've got 8 or 10 tabs open and it's like, I can't keep doing this right now, but I also don't want to lose all these tabs and forget about it. Just hit your OneTab. It just slurps it all down into one little list, and then you can restore them later. It also, when you slurp all your tabs down into one tab, it, I don't know, the grammar teachers in the room are like, geez, man, this is a tech guy. What it does, it also really uses a lot less RAM, a lot less memory. And we know that Chrome can be really difficult and slow your machine down. So that's an option for you. I really like OneTab. There are several different tools like this that will preserve some of your tabs. Okay, my mouse stopped working. Live TV. Low system resources. Oh no. Bear with me, I'm just going to close a couple of things. Looks like messing around with one tab was not a great idea. Okay, I got it back. We are good to go. Where were we? One tab. Save to Google Drive. Basically, just as you might imagine, what it does is now once you install this Save to Google Drive icon, any website you're on, if you see a picture or something like that, you can right click on it and go Save Image to Google Drive, and it'll automatically save it in your Google Drive. Okay, which could be super, save you a bit of time. Once you do that, a little bar will open up and show you the saving progress, and it will, looks like I've got to authenticate so that it has permission to use my Google Drive. But once I do that and it saves it there, it will just save it in a general My Drive, but I can change it to a particular folder if I wanted to change the defaults to that, okay? So that is certainly an option that you have as well. All right, we have 9 minutes left and I've still got a whole lot to share with you. I'm going to show you a couple extensions that really will add some functionality to Google Meet. All right, anybody using Google Meet for their live video? So the first one I'd like to share with you, I'm just going to start up a brand new one here. I'm going to stop my own video just so I can start it up in here. All right, ready to rock. Get started and I'll join. The first one now is called Tactic Pins. What Tactic Pins will let you do, let's see if I can use let me use my camera. There we go. What Tactic Pins will let me do, when I turn on the captions feature in here, automatically Tactic Pins is capturing all of the speaking and kind of copying it into this particular application here. And as I go along, and if other students are talking, it will not only identify me, but it will identify the other students as well. Just going to pause for a moment. See that if it comes into Tactic Pins. And basically, once I've done that, if I just give it enough, if I just stop talking for a second, and you'll see it pop in here. Anyways, I just don't have time to slow down, but it will pop itself in here, and then whenever I want, I just click back on this Tactic Pins, and it will give me an option to either copy, or I can save it as a text file, or I can save it as a, so I can copy it, I can save it as a text file, I can open it in a Google Doc, or I can send it to the Tactic website. I would not suggest you do that, put your own text on their site. I'm not 100% sure about the privacy features of this, but just for day-to-day conversation, I don't really feel like it presents too much of a privacy issue. You can see it now populating this Tactic Pin. It's always me, but if there were other students in here and different speakers were speaking, it would just show them as their name as well. And then when I do the Google Doc, it will then show the different names of the speakers at different times. So it's pretty cool, but you have to keep the captions on to be able to use that. I'm just going to hit the... Now, another particular time-saving tool or a feature in Meet from Joe Marquez from the Sons of, what are they called? Sons of Technology. They kind of play on the whole Sons of Anarchy kind of thing, is Nod. And what it does is in Google Meet, it will give you the option to have a whole bunch of nonverbal feedback signals. So, and when you do it, it'll say, Daniel gave me this, or Daniel raised their hand. So it'll list all the students in here and it will give you them. They have to have this installed too. Everybody has to have this installed. So once again, you click on this, you go to the Chrome Web Store, copy that Chrome Web Store link, and make sure students are push it out to students through your Google Classroom or through an email, and have them click on it and install it in their own Chrome browser. That will give them the functionality as well. There are a couple of other ones here from a guy named Mike Sammartano. This visual effects for Google Meet one I won't demonstrate, but basically what it does is it lets you have like a blur background or a sort of a pixelated screen or various other visual effects in Google Meet. So for students who really don't like the fact that their face might be on, I guess they can always turn off their video camera. It might also be considered quite distracting. It can certainly do some cool effects. Whether it's distracting or not, I'll let you decide, but certainly an interesting one that you may wish to consider. There's also another one that Mike Sammartano shared called, oh, looks like I didn't put the name of it. It is called Meet Attendance. Anybody using it? Basically what it does in your Google Meet, once this is installed, every time you go up to the People tab and click on it, it will create in a Google Sheet spreadsheet that it creates. It will do a roll call. Basically, it will list whoever else is in the meeting at that time. And so if you do one right at the beginning of your session, and let's say at the middle and at the end, you click on the People tab 3 times, it'll just populate 3 rows of your spreadsheet with all the people who were present at that particular time. So that might be useful for you. I'm going to just skip ahead here. Let's see what we've got time for. We have about 5 more minutes. Google Docs Quick Create, when you have it installed, basically right from your browser, when you click on it, will let you create a new Google Docs spreadsheet, presentation, or drawing or form right from there. Just click on it and boom, up will pop a window with a brand new Google Doc. Distraction-free mode for Google Docs, basically when you install it, if you're in a Google Doc, it'll just make all of the other menus and everything else disappear. You just left to type. You can also change the backgrounds to paper or sepia or something softer than just the white paper, and you can turn it off and on really quickly. All right, I'm going to just leave these other. This is a handy one for those of you who are using the last one for Google Meet. If you are using if you are sharing your screen, but you also want to see your students at the same time, you may have noticed if you've got one screen, it makes it very difficult. But what Dual Less does, if I add it to Chrome, it will basically, it's like I do not have a dual monitor system, so I'm using Dual Less. And it basically will then let you divide, if you have 2 tabs, let's say you have a presentation you'd like to share to your students in Google Meet, but you also have the Google Meet open in another tab, you can split those tabs in half such that you can see them, and then when you present your slides or a website you want them to look at, it will, you'll see both on your page, and you can go 30-70, 60-40, 50-50, etc. So let me just click on that and it'll see how that works. So now I've got this particular tab, it's split in half. So if I was sharing my presentation here, but I have my Google Meet on the right side, I could still see my students if they want to chat or mention something in the messages. Or I could just see if they're still there, if their video is on. I can kind of see both at the same time. And that is what Dual Less is. All right, there are lots of different add-ons for Google Docs and for Google Slides, as well as Google Forms. And I'll just mention a couple of them before we go. First of all, to find add-ons, it's different than the Chrome Web Store. I have given links to a place called the Google Apps Marketplace, which is kind of like the Chrome Web Store for add-ons. But you can also find them in each application. So if you're in a Google Doc or if you're in a Google Slide, you can just go to the add-ons menu and go get add-ons. And it will open up a whole little web store of its own. And you can read through and find all the different functionality that these different things do. Here's a quick run through of one of them. Magic Rainbow Unicorns for Slides basically will, in your Google Slides, they also have one for Google Docs. It'll take your text and turn it into rainbow text. Either it'll change the words into rainbow colors, or it'll change sort of the highlighter. You see the black text down there? It'll turn that into rainbow highlighted background. And so it's just a way to kind of focus their attention on a particular thing. Slip in slide is interesting. If let's say you have sent out students, make a copy for each student. Anybody ever done that? for a Google Doc or Google Slides, when you're creating a Google Classroom assignment, make a copy for each student. You send it out and you think, geez, I sent them this 10-slide presentation. Wouldn't it be nice if I could add in an 11th slide after I've already sent it to them? That's what Slip In Slide does. Lets you pick a particular slide, and then it can just distribute that to all the students' presentations that are already out there. That's what that particular one does. Unsplash Images is a nice one. It will, if you've heard of unsplash.com, beautiful, royalty-free, copyright-free images taken by really good photographers, like incredible stuff that you can use. And what this particular add-on does is it brings you a searchable Unsplash photos as a sidebar in your Google Slides. There are several other ones out there. This one does the same with icons from the Noun Project, some free icons that show up on the right side. Before we go, I want to just share with you, I know I'm 1 minute over time. In Google Forms, what you can do is, anybody use Google Forms to make a quiz where you can do an auto-gradable quiz? What Certify'em does, I love Certify'em. What Certify'em does is it basically lets you, once you've installed it into Google Forms, you can say, if students reach a certain percentage that I decide on this auto-graded quiz, they get a certificate. And you can customize what that certificate looks like, okay? And it emails it to them as a PDF with their name on it. You can customize it if you want, or they've got some ready-made ones as well. So basically all you have to do is, once you launch Certify'em, you just basically have to say, what percentage level do they have to get? So if you want them to reach a mastery level of 80 or 85 or 90% to be able to get this, and they can keep taking that quiz until they gain that mastery and get the certificate, you can do that. What I also really like about that is it also, let me just fast forward here to this, it also gives you a spreadsheet automatically that shows which student attempted it, what mark they got, did they get their certificate or not, and it kind of timestamps it. So really useful. It's great for if you want to do sort of self-paced modules for students. Really wonderful. There are some additional add-ons in there for you to look at, some really cool ones. But before we go, two final things to share, a couple of templates. Matt Miller has an incredible blog. He wrote a book a long time ago called Ditch That Textbook. He's got a brand new book called Tech Like a Pirate. He's got so many of these really cool templates here. Sticky note brainstorming, 25 graphic organizers, a math icon board template. He's got a whole bunch of social media templates. So if your students are really into TikTok right now, he's got a TikTok template in Google Slides that you can use for free. There it is, TikTok. Look at that, Family Feud template. There's all sorts of cool templates that you can make a copy of and use. So that is Matt Miller. And the last one I want to show you is, if you haven't seen Slides Mania before, very, very cool and also free. Loads of different Google Slides templates. And we're not just talking backgrounds here. Oh, this is a brand new one today. Here's a challenge board one. So if you want to create a lesson that has some challenge boards, and you know, the first slide is sort of your, let me just scroll down here. Here's your, come on. Here's the first slide, and hyperlinks to different slides. You can basically just change, it just is linked all for you, and it's all ready for you to use for free. So they've got loads of things like that. There's also a new one that has Lego blocks for some math stuff, like fractions or addition, multiplication, that kind of thing. Here's the Lego one. They also have some just nice visual backgrounds and templates you can use. These are all free. So project work, choice boards, there's a weekly planner for teachers, loads and loads of free stuff on Slides Mania. I've gone 5 minutes overtime. There are a couple of more. Next week will be our last week of doing live PD sessions this year. I know. So we're going to kind of give you the month of June to just focus on planning for next year and so on. And so next week I'm doing 2 sessions. On Monday I'm doing how to clean up your Google Drive and your Google Classroom. It's been a flurry of activity for weeks. And what are some tips to clean some of that stuff up? Google Calendars coming out the wazoo. What do I do with my Google site? You know, how do I organize that for next year? And then on Friday, it'll be a bit more fun. There's a kind of a movement that's taking place where it's a kind of a trendy thing right now to create your own virtual classroom with a Bitmoji, where you can like click on different things, click on these books to kind of read this book online, or various other things they can click on. It has your Bitmoji in there. So if you have the Bitmoji app on your mobile device, you got to do that first. Come on down next Friday and we'll just spend some time together. We're going to go step by step. Today was like throwing stuff at you nonstop. Next Friday will just be step by step by step how you can do some of these things, actually get started for next year or for the month of June, whatever. Thank you so much, everybody. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Bitmoji is a Google. Yes, exactly. It is another extension, as you pointed out. You're right. And I thought about putting that into today, but then it was like, I just have way too much stuff. Thank you so much for joining. I'll stick around if any of you do have any questions about this. By the way, if you're curious about where I got the Harry Potter font, I put a link on the first slide there. fontmeme.com/Harry Potter font. And there's also a cool Minecraft one I've got a link down there too, if you want to make Minecraft fonts for your slides. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful Friday and a great weekend. And I hope to see you next week. If not, have a wonderful month of June and a relaxing summer. And we'll all cross our fingers that things will be much more back to normal in the fall. Take care, everyone. All right. For those who wanted that CBC documentary, let's see if I can find it. I did tweet about it. That CBC documentary about We Will Stand Up. Whew, chilling. And it's like incredible that this type of racism still happens in our society in this day and age. But I did tweet about it. Let's see if I can find it. I put a couple of tweets there. Did I skip it? I will find it. It was before this one. Here we go. So if anybody would like to watch We Will Stand Up, it is also available. It is also available on the, what is that called? The place where Canadian films are. Anyways, I'm drawing a blank. But this is a link for it as well. And highly worth the watch. Anyways, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And if anybody needs that bit.ly for these slides, I'll put one last time. National Film Board. Thank you, Sonia. Man, drew a blank there. ATA Time Wizard. Okay, if you need those slides. Thanks, everybody.